Howdy, this is Bill. Today I'm going to revisit a recipe I've done before. I had people had some questions, so I thought I'd redo this and kind of go over the steps a little, maybe slower, better explanation. This is my spinach souffle. I love it. I make it all the time now that I figured out how to do it right. Probably making it for a couple of years now. I tried several years ago to get this whole thing to work, and it just didn't. It took me a while to kind of dial it in. So, a little more detail to it. So you just take a 10-ounce package of spinach. You don't want any sauce in it, just frozen. You could use fresh spinach if you really, really wanted to, but remember you're going to have to wilt it down. Otherwise, it's going to create too much water. That was a big thing that people asked me because they like using fresh spinach. So in that case, you'd have to cook it in a pan and make sure you cooked all the fluid out. I haven't tried that myself, so I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants in that one. So basically, I'm going to let it thaw. And probably the hardest thing about this is you got to really squeeze that liquid out. Well, then when I put it in my big bowl here, my measuring cup, I have to kind of pull it apart. Otherwise, it's not going to incorporate real well. So let's get started with the ingredients. I have a little piece of blue cheese. Blue cheese is always great. This is some Stilson. You can use Maytag. I probably like Maytag better, but didn't have any at the store. So I got some onion. Originally, I think in the recipe I said, you just take like a quarter of an onion and throw it in here. Well, you do have to kind of break it up, and I usually use really large onions. And I always have onion in the fridge that's open. So basically, I'm just going to, as you can see how cut up it is. And I had some open, I had some red, I had some yellow. I'm just going to throw it all in here because it's not really going to affect anything. There's no such thing as too much or too little. Alright, moving on. So, need 1.5 cups of milk. I would use whole milk because we're going to bake this and we want the souffle to rise. So we do want to use whole milk. I'm not sure if you could really substitute any other kind of milk. I'm not the expert, so I need 1.5 cups of whole milk. I got 3 large eggs here. Three large eggs. Okay, now what I'm going to do, besides wipe my hand off, is I want to add some seasoning to this. So, you need like half a teaspoon of salt. You gotta have some salt to kind of bring out the flavor. The spinach is pretty bland. I think I put in the recipe before that you wanted to use like 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. People thought that was kind of hot. Okay, well, so cut that in half. So 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I like it hot, so I'm not afraid to go the whole 1/4 teaspoon. But if you want, just make it half or 1/4, 1/8. That's in there. I always like putting a little fresh ground pepper in here. I need about 1/2 cup of grated cheese. It really doesn't matter. This is actually some leftover cheese I had. I'm just going to put about 1/2 cup in here. That's good. And I need about 1/2 cup. I need a half a cup of breadcrumbs. I really don't think it matters what kind of breadcrumbs they are. So now for the fun part. The other way I found to make this work is using an immersion blender. So we want to keep it in here under the fluid so we don't get it all sprayed in our face. And once you get this started, it'll start to incorporate real well. I'm going to start on lower speed because I know you can't hear me. That's what really 2 minutes of using an immersion blender takes. I might have shortcut it a little bit because I was afraid of being boring, but people just thought you could take this and go around for 30 seconds and it was done. The consistency is perfect, there's no more lumps in here. As you get used to using an immersion blender, you're going to find out that you get really crafty at what bowls work best, what speeds work best, because these are all adjustable. I was using 6 out of 12, so I guess that's halfway. Basically, I want really good consistency. You can always tell. And this is, you could probably get away with a blender. I've tried it and my blenders are never good enough. So that's what made me go and buy an immersion blender to do this. I feel something in here. I'm just going to give it just a little more. This is a dangerous instrument, so the first thing I always do is I take off the blade. I want to kind of scrape some of this down, don't have to be perfect. And really make sure you clean these well. Stuff tends to stick right around the blade, you gotta kind of get in there and pick it off. Don't submerge that water. It has a bearing in there. It'll rust real quick. I know from experience. So I got this all mixed. So the part you didn't see was I took my glass baking dish. You can use an 8x8. This is actually a 9x7, so it comes out really about the same. And I just run butter in it and throw it in the fridge. Now it's nice and cold. That butter's going to stick to the sides. So when I put room temperature in, it's not going to stick. And it's going to kind of hold its anti-stick for the first, minute or so or seconds in the oven. So all I want to do is I want to pour this right in. My oven's at 350, so it's all ready to go. There are no lumps in here, so I did a good job. So that's the part you want to take your time with, just making sure you get all the lumps out. Everything should be really well incorporated. And just when you think you're done, I want to put a topping on this so we get a good poof out of it. So I have just a little bit. You don't need like a quarter of a cup of breadcrumbs. Just kind of dance around with it. Just doesn't have to be. Try and get in the corners, along the edges. And this is probably just a little less than a quarter cup. But I got pretty fairly good coverage. It's thin, but it's good. And then I have a little bit left of the cheese. I'm not trying to make a crust of cheese like on a pizza. I just want to go around. And you can use, like I said, this is just leftover cheese you can use. I like using sharp, but I just had this. This is it's a jack cheese. So once again, I got just a little bit on, danced around on here. And I don't want to delay. I want to get this in the oven, so I'm going to put this in the oven. It's going to cook for 35 minutes. So I'm going to get this in the oven. We'll be right back and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, 35 minutes later. Let me grab a glove because it's really hot. It's got some good color. You can see it's browned all the way around the outside. It was real puffed up. It's starting, it's sunk back in a little bit. It tells me that it's getting pretty close to cut. So let's just give this a try and see. So that's it. It's beautiful, it's lovely. I can show you. So it's nice and fluffy. Tastes great. This is beautiful. This is the way it should be. I like it this way with less cayenne pepper, so maybe I'll make it this way from now on. You can taste a little bit of that, just a little, we had that little 2 ounces of blue cheese. You can taste that in there. Everything's well incorporated. And like I said, this is really an impressive dish to make. Serve with anything. This is a great thing to make for go with your turkey on Thanksgiving. Serve with just about anything. it's got enough flavor to stand up on its own, and it's really pretty simple to make. I mean, I know you have to have a way to mix it all together. As long as you do that, you're all set. So once again, have a great day, have fun cooking, enjoy. I want you to subscribe and comment. Try this stuff out, so that way you're gonna learn. So have a great day.